A happy Tuesday morning. Coming up on today's show, a quality cornerback is available. Should San Francisco sign Jack Jones, formerly of the New England Patriots, after his release in Foxborough? We have some injury news to get to along the Niners' offensive line, in particular Colton McKivitz, the right tackle, and at the end of the show, some really cool numbers. This player stepped up against Jacksonville, and that player could have a critical role for this Niners defense down the stretch. Stay tuned for that. But we start with Jack Jones. We know that the secondary for San Francisco has struggled at times this year. I do think that the Niners played their most complete game on the defensive side of the football against Jacksonville. Keep in mind, Jaguars are a really good team. 5 wins in a row. Weapons all over the place. Quality coaching Doug Peterson, who's won a Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. And not only was this Niners defense getting after the quarterback and pressuring Lawrence, bringing him down for 5 sacks, they forced 4 turnovers. They shut down the run. Collectively, a great defensive effort for San Francisco. But look, we know that this team is a little bit weak in that secondary. So with the New England Patriots releasing Jack Jones, a quality corner, a surprising move, he is now available, and he's going to continue his football career elsewhere. Could that be with the Niners? Jones was kind of slipping down that Patriots depth chart a little bit, not getting as much playing time. Overseas in Germany, he only logged 10 snaps against the Indianapolis Colts. He was benched in the first quarter against the Washington Commanders. The issue with him has never been talent or ability. He certainly has that. He's just not looked at as maybe a cultural fit in New England for the way that they do things, and the organization grew a little bit tired of the antics. You look at his career stats. He's played 18 games, so somewhat inexperienced. He started 2 of them for Bill Belichick's defense. 42 tackles during that span, but 7 pass breakups over an 18-game stretch is not bad at all if you basically translate that to him playing a full season. 2 interceptions, 3 tackles for loss, making some plays behind the line, and 1 forced fumble. You look at his Pro Football Focus grades, not great, not superb by any means, but I do like the pass breakup and the interception numbers because I do think that when you play that cornerback position, you have to have instincts, you have to be able to get a beat on the football, and Jones was able to show that with the Patriots. We also know that they hold people to different standards, and sometimes in this new era of professional sports, players don't always jive with the Bill Belichick style. Overall Pro Football Focus grade of 60.5 on 561 snaps, a coverage grade of 62.1, tackle 53.3, and he's given up 2 touchdowns in coverage. That too, not awful numbers. When the field gets condensed in the red zone, it can be easy to not give up it can be hard to stick with some of those wide receivers, but he's been pretty good in coverage. Only 2 touchdowns allowed there. Those numbers obviously in the red zone, but full field as well. So it goes to show you he's also not getting beat vertically when opposing offenses try to take the top off of the defense. An interesting backstory here with Jack Jones. Antonio Pierce, now the interim coach for the Las Vegas Raiders, stepping in for the fired Josh McDaniels, who was a disaster again, by the way. Denver stint was awful. Jack Jones played for Antonio Pierce when he was a coach in California for a football powerhouse. So coming up in California, the high school football system was coached and played for a very, very good program that vies for state championships and deep-level playoff runs. He's 25 years old right now. He originally stayed in California, to USC, and then transferred to Arizona State, where he was a 4th-round pick by New England in 2022. Bill Belichick has really struggled to draft skill position players offensively. He's actually been really good at developing defensive backs. That's why them cutting Jones loose this early when the season has been an outright just disaster for the New England Patriots, a little bit of a surprise. Size not bad here for Jack Jones, 5'11", 180. So that could be ideal size, honestly, to play in the slot, depending on what San Francisco wants to do there coming down the stretch here in the regular season. More on that here coming up around the corner. Make sure you subscribe to the show because when the Niners make a move, if they sign Jack Jones, we're going to break it down. Whenever there's a big, juicy storyline out there pertaining to this football team, I talk about it. That's why we have more than 100,000 subscribers. So if you want to become a more informed and smarter Niner fan, this is the channel for you. Subscribe. Speaking of subscribing, join us Tuesday afternoon, or for some of you, Tuesday evening. Niners Report going live, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. Before we continue to move on and move forward with today's show, you see the shirt that I'm rocking? It's coming from Marine Layer. You can find your new favorite fits with Marine Layer. Bay Area based, by the way, at marinelayer.com/chatsports. And if you plug in that link at the bottom of your screen, you get 15% off your order. You've seen me previously on the show wear some of their classy shirts that you would wear on a fancy date night to a steakhouse in San Francisco. Today, I'm wearing some of their athletic wear. The shirt that I'm rocking here, I've gone on a run in it. I've worked out in it. I can host a show on it because it's very comfortable, but it also looks clean and professional. The golf polo is also really nice. Here's a look at more of their athletic wear. And then you can rock some shorts as well. I'm wearing shorts today because here in Dallas, it's 60 degrees with a little bit of a hoodie over this shirt. A great fall fit. Whatever fit that you're looking for, Marine Layer has you covered. And once again, 15% off your entire order. Just use that link down below. marinelayer.com/chatsports. Find your new favorite fits today. All of that information available for you in the comments section and in the description of this video. Next up on the docket on this Tuesday morning, injury news. Colton McKivitz, what's going on with Tim? Did get banged up in that game against the Jags, and his play was banged up because he looked broken out there, was not playing well at all. Kyle Shanahan said on Monday that McKivitz was rolled up on Sunday. Because of that, he is dealing with an ankle and knee issue. His status moving forward is day-to-day up to this point. He started every game at right tackle, and he's been the worst member of this Niners offensive line, and he's really struggled for the entire duration of the 2023 campaign. It started right away with T.J. Watt, and it's continued on against some of the top edge rushers in the NFL. We talked about it all offseason, all preseason, all training camp. And now it's become a storyline early in the 2023 campaign for San Francisco. Colton McKivitz is a problem. The Niners not investing in offensive line is a problem because when you get into the teeth of the playoffs and you're going up against some top-tier defenses in the NFL with some great defensive linemen, great edge rushers, and good defenses, they're going to target the right side. Go back and watch the film. That's exactly what Jacksonville did against the Niners on Sunday. They know McKivitz is a weak spot. They went after him with Josh Allen and others, and he couldn't hold up. Spencer Burford, an issue at right guard as well. So day-to-day, we'll continue to monitor his status moving forward, and you take a look at some of the numbers. I'm not lying to you. I'm just looking at the digits, and I'm relaying this information. But the eye test tells me, my scouting eye tells me, McKivitz also hasn't been good. A lot of team worst. 4 pressures against the Jags, and the Niners as a team, going back to their lack of investing in offensive line, which I think is the second or third most important position group after quarterback on a football club. They rank 22nd in ESPN's pass block win rate. The right side of the offensive line is a problem, especially against a good team in the playoffs, to summarize this talking point. And I wonder if the Niners are going to try to make some changes there. Kyle Shanahan said at the end of last week that even though Aaron Banks out 3 games because of that turf toe injury, they were going to start to rotate in John Feliciano, potentially at right guard with Spencer Burford. They've done that before with Daniel Brunskill. Right now, Feliciano is stepping in for Aaron Banks at left guard, but do they make a change on that right side? Do you go Burford to right tackle? He played a little bit of tackle at UTSA. Feliciano at right guard. If Burford can't hold up as a guard, I'm just not sure how he's going to hold up at right tackle. The backup options, realistically, I think, behind Colton McKivitz, and this would be a decision, Jaylon Moore, who's been filling in at left tackle for Trent Williams. Williams is back. So Shanahan did say on Monday, when asked by the press corps there, that Moore could potentially play at right tackle. You also have Matt Pryor, who strictly plays right tackle as a backup because he's not comfortable to going to left tackle. Do you go with the younger player who's been playing well of late? Williams even said so. Or do you go with the savvy veteran who's been around this league for a long time in Matt Pryor? So that's kind of iffy news for Colton McKivitz. Good news for Trent Williams, still the best left tackle in the game. No further setbacks for him. He did struggle a little bit against what is a very good Jags defensive line, and that's why Brock Purdy was pressured a lot, and that's why the Jags sent Purdy the highest blitz rate that he's faced so far in his NFL career. Williams gave up 4 pressures. Colton McKivitz gave up those 4 pressures. I want to round out the show with this, and we're going to talk about cornerback once again, and that conversation that we had about Jack Jones does kind of shift us into this conversation that I want to have to round out the program about Ambry Thomas. I know that Ambry Thomas, as a third-round pick out of Michigan in 2021, has been up and down. His play has been criticized at times, rightfully so. I thought as a rookie down the stretch, after having not played in 2020 because of COVID at Michigan, after a rough go during a playoff run, he actually played some pretty good football on the outside as a starter for that Niners defense. He had the key interception of Matthew Stafford to clinch that victory to punch the ticket to the playoffs in Week 18 against the Rams on the road. Last year, though, fell out of favor for this coaching staff. That's why he barely played. But a key adjustment was made by defensive coordinator Steve Wilks against the Jags. Deommodore Lenoir moved from the outside to the slot, and Ambry Thomas played a lot and significant snaps at outside cornerback opposite of Charvarius Mooney-Ward. Is this going to be the strategy moving forward? Isaiah Oliver, in fact, got benched. Deebo stepped in the slot, and I think Ambry Thomas played good football out there. So that was one of the key adjustments from Steve Wilks that we talked about on Monday's show, that movement. And Oliver had allowed a 100% completion rate in the previous 4 games. He was awful in coverage. Lenoir, and we talked about the potential possibility of him moving to the slot, I think is a well-suited player there because of his size. Ambry Thomas has size, he has speed, he has length, he has good coverage ability. The issue with him has been injuries, it's been inconsistency, and maybe not honing in on the nuances for this coaching staff to fully trust him. But when Oliver has played as bad as he has, you had to make a change in that secondary. That's why Deebo goes to the slot, Ambry Thomas to the outside. If he can continue to play like he did against Jacksonville, where he logged 43 snaps, that's a significant development for this defense. You look at his numbers against the Jags. He had a team-high coverage grade of 82.3, according to Pro Football Focus. Pretty legit. He only gave up 14 yards receiving. He forced 1 incompletion. No touchdowns allowed, and he was the one on Christian Kirk late in the game who had good coverage on him, made a tackle, stripped the football, recovered it, and if it wasn't for the coaches and players going wild on the sideline celebrating on the field with the penalty, bringing that touchdown for a return back, we would have been talking about a 96-yard fumble scoop and score, strip, touchdown for Ambry Thomas in addition to the good coverage. Again, he has to prove that he can be a more consistent football player for me, for you, for everybody to fully trust him. But if Thomas can work out and you keep Isaiah Oliver off the field and Deebo can move in the slot with Charvarius Mooney-Ward on the outside, with Samuel Womack and Darrell Luter Jr. coming back, that gives this team some depth. It gives this team a defensive secondary that could have some synergy and a high level of play, because the Niners did not address cornerback at the deadline. They went defensive line instead, which looks as though it's going to work out with the debut of Chase Young in that game on Sunday. But when you don't address cornerback at the deadline, that pass rush is going to have to get home, and this is what you're stuck with, trying to figure out which players on the roster fit into the best spots to put your defense in a position to succeed. We're going to go live a little bit later. If you want to contact me, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, email in general, today, tomorrow, whenever, feel free to hit me up. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you in a bit here on the Niners Report.